If I'm just learning guitar licks, won't I sound like a boring, repetitive guitarist who can't really play any melodies? Won't everything sound rehearsed and uninspired? I'm here today to tell you that there's nothing wrong with learning guitar licks. In fact, it can really open up your playing in some brand new ways. Most of the time, guitar licks are repeated a number of times in a row, and that can make you sound rehearsed and unable to improvise. But let's look at some ways they can really benefit your playing. Guitar licks can teach you new phrasing possibilities. Guitar licks can help you master some techniques. And sometimes guitar licks can help you memorize arpeggios and scale fragments easier. Let's look at a couple examples of why you can learn new phrasing through learning guitar licks. This lick here, for example, is most definitely the definition of a guitar lick. It's a guitar lick you would tend to repeat, but you can definitely use this as part of your phrase building. So this lick is part of the E minor scale. This one here off the 12th fret. So how does it really teach you new phrasing? Well, let's be honest, this grouping of notes is one that you probably would never just happen to stumble on if you weren't learning it as a guitar lick. But now that your fingers have it memorized as a guitar lick, you can now use it as part of a phrase. Here's what it might sound like. So that guitar lick really does work. I only played through it one time and it worked nicely to tie into other parts of my phrasing. But what if we play something much more simple, something like the blues lick that we all learn when we're first learning to solo? This one here. People tend to play that guitar lick repetitively because that's how we learned it. But obviously it works very well as a phrase builder, so let's demonstrate. That was a very simple lick, but you can start phrases with it, and the way we learn that typically is as a guitar lick. So they do show you new phrasing ideas. Guitar licks can also help you learn new techniques. When you play guitar licks, you're playing a grouping of notes over and over until you're playing them cleaner, faster, and better overall. So they are great practice for technique building. What if I've got a basic blues lick like this? Started off with a pull off from 15 to 12, go down to 14 on the third string, and then I go up to 12 on the first string and I do a hammer up onto the 15th fret and then pull it off. So the whole thing together is this. Once again, most likely I would not have stumbled upon this particular pattern of notes with hammers and pulls in there, and it gave me a chance to work on those techniques and put them all together. So yes, it probably isn't something I would have necessarily practiced if it weren't in a guitar lick, but look how it can be used in improvisation. That worked nicely inside of improvisation, but it was definitely something I learned as a guitar lick so that I could get down those hammers and pulls in the right way. And to continue the discussion about how learning guitar licks can push your technique forward, what if I'm doing a lick like this? So that lick slowly is like this. That sort of phrasing doesn't just happen overnight. It's one of those things that you really would have to work on as a guitar lick. It's not something that, for me, is just going to naturally come out as I'm playing through some pentatonics. I had to work on that. So playing it as a repetitive lick is what made it possible for me to execute that. And of course now I can use it in some sort of improvisational setting much easier that it's under my fingers. Licks can also help you learn and or memorize scale fragments and arpeggios better. When you play a guitar lick, make sure you know what the notes are that you're playing so that you're better able to use it over a chord. Take for instance these notes. Those notes comprise the chord known as C major 7. And if I want to play it as a guitar lick, I could do this. Usually guitar licks are only on 1, 2, or 3 strings at the most, and that helps us memorize them easier, of course. But what we're also doing when we do something like this is we're memorizing an arpeggio, which is extremely helpful. So by playing a small arpeggio like that, you're automatically sounding good if you apply it to the proper chord. So if I play this over a C major 7, it doesn't matter how I play it, it's going to sound good. That's truly one of those guitar licks you don't have to play fast to sound interesting or good, because you're playing something of consequence. You're playing the notes of a chord. Also, that guitar lick gives me an idea of how to play a C major 7 in a small space, and I can just go to the other octaves thereof. And once you know a guitar lick like that, you can also immediately change it. If you know this is the root, 3rd, 5th, and major 7, I can change that major 7 to a flat 7 and have a dominant 7 chord. Then I could change the major 3rd to a minor 3rd and have a minor 7 chord. So by learning that first major 7 arpeggio as a guitar lick, I was then able to change a couple of notes here and there and make some other chords. That's an extremely useful tool for improvisation. Let's look at another guitar lick which is actually an arpeggio, this one here. That's actually based out of the E minor pentatonic if you want to look at it that way. If I play the E minor diagonal pentatonic, you can see the notes here in the top of the pentatonic. And I went from 19 down to 15, down to 17 on the 2nd string, and then where the pentatonic continues in its next octave is right here on the 16th fret of the 3rd string. And I created an arpeggio out of that. So instead of playing up and down the pentatonic, I'm able to make something quite useful, like an arpeggio, out of them. And honestly, that minor arpeggio didn't come to me from out of the blue. I saw it based on the pentatonics I was playing. And I identified the notes and saw that it was a minor triad. And basically what I'm getting at is make sure you always know what notes you're playing when you develop a lick like that, so that you can use it in the future over the proper chord. And above all, please make sure you practice these ideas over music, because that's how you're going to take guitar licks and translate them into something that you can use much better for improvisation. Don't waste your time over a metronome or a drum machine. Those are helpful to practice your timing, but if you're already playing over a backing track with a beat, you've got your timing right there. So practice over music that will give you that context that your playing needs to become better at not just your guitar licks, but using your guitar licks inside an improvisational setting. If you practice over music all the time, your guitar licks won't sound repetitive and boring. You'll bring them to life in an improvisational setting, and that's truly the goal. I hope this information was helpful, and if you would like to download any of those licks that we used today, you can click on the link in the description, and I'll put them up as a PDF and guitar profile. Please make sure to hit that like button. It really does help my channel, and subscribe if you will. As always, a great free way you can support my channel is if you're buying guitars like this beautiful Sir, or guitar strings, or amps, or whatever, you can shop through my Sweetwater affiliate links down below, and it does help my channel just a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.